Recently I got a new car, and my old car is going to the junkyard. So I was wondering if it would run on moonshine without any modifications whatsoever to the engine. So I went out and I got a little bit of moonshine. Moonshine is generally about 190 proof straight out of the still, which is about 95% alcohol and about 5% water. This high test hooch, however, is about 99.95% alcohol because it's against the law to make moonshine. So what I did was I went out and I got straight methanol. Now the first question I had was whether or not the methanol and the gasoline would mix together. There's just a little tiny bit of gasoline left in the tank, and I thought, you know, maybe they would stay separated when I poured this into the tank. So what I did was I went and I put a little bit of alcohol in this beaker and a little bit of gasoline, and as you can see, they mix together beautifully. They're both hydrocarbons, so it's not too surprising that they are completely homogeneous. The next thing I want to do is a burn test. I'm going to take a little bit of alcohol and a little bit of gasoline. We're going to light them on fire and see what happens. I have here a little bit of gasoline in this beaker. Gasoline burns at about 1950 degrees Celsius. Now, I have also here a little bit of that methanol. This burns at about 1920 degrees Celsius, which is a little bit less, but not a lot. Let's move this out of the way so we don't light everything in the world on fire. And now let's light that on fire. Well, it's burning and you can't even see the flame. I thought it was out. So as you can see, it burns a lot cleaner than gasoline. So after our burn test, you can see that the gasoline container is just covered with soot. It was only burning for like a few seconds, and you can see the discoloration in the glass. Compared to the alcohol, here you can see that there's absolutely no soot whatsoever. The alcohol burned much cleaner than the gasoline did. So this is like what's coming out of the tailpipe here. I mean, you can see all of the pollutants that would be coming out of your tailpipe as compared to the alcohol. None whatsoever. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but none that you can see on the glass. So here's the old girl herself. It's a Dodge Stratus. She has 363,000 some odd miles on her. I was hoping to drive her to the moon and back. I got there, I went around, and I'm on my way back. That's 477,000 miles round trip, but I didn't quite make it. She's got to go to the junkyard. You can see that the engine is just the straight old engine that was in it, original, very few parts, nothing added for this methanol experiment. It's just the straight up engine. It's got very little oil in it, I would imagine, because I haven't checked it in years. I'm gonna just put this into the tank. There's a slight bit of gasoline in the tank right now. It's probably, I'd say, much less than a gallon probably. It's way down on E, the gas light is on. So it's gonna start on the gas that's in the fuel lines right now and should run just fine. I don't know if we'll know when the methanol hits, but if we let it run long enough, it's certainly gonna start running on the methanol. It's gonna be a mixture of methanol and gasoline, but it's gonna be very little gasoline. For all intents and purposes, it's straight methanol. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now it's running on the little bit of gasoline that's in it. Got about a half a tank of gas now. Where before I had, well, it was on E, the gas light was on. So far so good. Right now I would say at the worst case scenario is that we're driving on about 90% alcohol. Well, that's not true. Let's say there was a gallon in the car, right? So that puts us at about 80% alcohol. This is just a regular car. It's not been designed to run on flex fuel. It's not a flex fuel vehicle. It's not made for E85 gasoline. But here we are driving down the street, with at least 80% alcohol. I notice no difference right now in the way the car is driving. The idle is the same. Everything seems exactly the same. So we're going to drive it around until we used up some of this gasoline, and we'll see. So here we are. This is a 2005 Dodge Stratus, and we're running on alcohol. Almost completely 100% alcohol, at least 80% alcohol, and we're having no problems. There's no difference in the way the car functions. I mean, the car never functioned really well as it was, but I turned it off yesterday. It had very little gasoline. We turned it on today with mostly alcohol in it, and it's running just beautifully. Maybe it's going to eat up the rubber O-rings and stuff like that, but you know, as far as a fuel goes, alcohol is perfect. You could distill it in your backyard if it was not illegal and dump it in your car. If you had to, you could run your car on, you know, your kitchen scraps.